It's our duty. It's our duty.
OK， 仲有另外一個簡單啲嘅都係，當我哋喺 game on 嘅時候，你哋可以揀 China， 第二可以係 cancel， 第三可以係 China cancelling。OK， 我哋試一試。Shame on， Shame on， Shame on，
知啦，
Shame on，
知啦。
好，大家都好好，祝大家有獎。
好，唔該晒港門嘅代表 ，Thank you so much for the representative of Hong Kong Aid for leading our chants。咁我哋而家就有請第一個 speaker 同我哋分享佢嘅發言先。So we'll now invite the first speaker. He's the representative of Global Alliance for Tibet and persecuted minorities.
麻煩大家幫我 share 個直播出去啊，唔該。
Good afternoon. Thank you everyone for being here today. This is a very important rally to send our one voice message to Beijing, Xi Jinping's regime, and also to our UK government. We all know what happened in Manchester a week ago on 16th of October, when our friends from Hong Kong and others were staging a peaceful protest outside the consulate of the People's Republic of China. A group of Communist China's officials, or otherwise known as the CCP thugs, wearing face masks, started dismantling the protest banners and removing them. Over half a dozen CCP thugs then used force and dragged Bob Chan inside the grounds of the Chinese consulate and beat him up. A government official in Beijing immediately denied the attack, stating that the protesters entered the Chinese consulate. However, the footage captured on cameras shows the truth. Media reported that the Consul General, apologize for my pronunciation, Cheng Shiyuan, accepted his part in the physical attack on a youth resident who is a refugee from Hong Kong. Friends, we must remind China and the CCP regime that we are in the UK, a free and democratic country. Demonstration is very much part of British society, and our democratic rights, including free speech, cannot be taken away from us by anyone, including the CCP regime here on British soil. We simply cannot allow and tolerate the Chinese regime exporting the brutal crackdown and beatings on peaceful demonstrators here. The UK government should send a strong message to China that crackdown on pro-democracy protesters by CCP agents on British soil will not be tolerated and that it is unacceptable. We welcome and thank parliamentarians, including Sir Ian Duncan-Smith, for their condemnation and their calls for concrete action taken against the Chinese officials who were involved in the attack. With one voice, my friends, we urge the UK government once again to deport all those CCP thugs, including the Consul General, back to China immediately. We have been stating for years that the Chinese regime actively violates the UN Declaration of Human Rights across China and its occupied territories. I'm a Tibetan, born in a Tibetan refugee camp in Nepal. And my country, Tibet, was illegally invaded by the People's Republic of China in 1950. After the Communist Party of China came to power on 1st October 1949. Today, Tibetans continue to endure great hardships in Tibet. Young Tibetan children from the age of 4 to 18 are forcibly admitted into China's colonial boarding schools with the very objective of destroying Tibetan identity, language, and culture. I'm very well aware of the political situations of our Uyghur and Hong Kong friends in their respective countries, as well as those in southern Mongolia. I'm also well aware of the Chinese regime's brutal crackdown on Christians, Buddhists, and Falun Gong practitioners across China. Xi Jinping's third term in office over the next 5 years is going to bring more miseries, more crackdowns, and more brutalities against our peoples. Friends, as China's persecuted communities, we must continue our resistance and challenge the brutal communist dictatorship. We must unite and fight back against Xi Jinping and his regime. Their latest attack in Manchester, here on UK soil, is a very clear message to us, to silence us, our free speech, and it is an intimidation tactic they started here in Manchester. We must, friends, we must send a very loud and clear message back to Beijing. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We will continue our fight for freedom, justice, equality, democracy, and human rights. Friends, your presence here today is a strong indication of your support and solidarity with China's persecuted communities, including Hong Kong, Tibet, and East Turkestan, and of course our friend Bob Chan. I'm very pleased to be part of this rally today, and I would like to acknowledge Hong Kong 8, Britons in Hong Kong, Free Tibet, Hong Kong Liberty, Good Neighbor Church England, and of course Global Alliance for Tibetan Persecuted Minorities. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shane. And it's very important for us to hear the voice from Tibetans and that they stand in solidarity with us. 好多謝頭先西藏嘅其中一個代表去同我哋分享佢嘅關於曼城事件嘅感受啦。咁下一位我哋將會有嚟自香港嘅一個香港人啦，黃茂俊先生啦。咁佢就會為我哋分享佢都係關於啱啱曼城集會嘅事件嘅感受啦。咁佢就係香港連農嘅發起人。 同埋都係831事件嘅生還者，係啦。So upcoming we have another speaker who is Jim Wong, who is a Hong Konger, who is a survivor from the 31st of August Prince Edward Station terrorist attack, and he's also the founder of Hong Kong Lake Up, which is an organisation based in the UK that aims to link up Hong Kongers with British to foster their integration into the society. So Jim, please.
Thank you, Catherine. Hello everyone, I'm Jim. Thanks to the organizer for the invitation. Let me speak here, and thanks for managing this rally over this past week. I have a great appreciation for the Uyghurs and the Tibetans community. We stand together to go against the odious deeds of the CCP, and thanks to those who come here to show our solidarity. It makes me feel
嗱，而家講緊嘢呢一位咧，就係831嘅
We came out for our fault. We came out for
大家所
what
講
we
嘅
believe.
紅寶鎮啦。
Then what we realized the situation when we realized the situation, which we have already stood together. I don't know you and you don't know me. But we got the same identity. We are Hong Kongers. We are international citizens. Whether you are Londoner, German, Japanese, US or Canadians, we got the same fate. We are not allowed violence to happen. The behavior or the manipulation that happened in Manchester last week is it very familiar? If these situations happen in Hong Kong, the victims will be arrested for the rioting by police. No need to mention the regime and police on the same team, even the judge. And you wouldn't have any chance to fight back. You will crush into the judicial system and the NSL. They will use the time to destroy you and keep you in jail. Police find nothing could be evidence. Then they fabricate the evidence, like the Everyone. Those who attack us still have no persecution after them, isn't it? It's a sad story. Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm coming here to tell the story about the sad story to you. But what is the story on today? Today is a Justice Day. Today we came here to remind the CCP that he is not their whim. He is the land of justice and ruled by the law. And we should ask the UK government to send them to prison, to let them try how the Hong Kong political prisoners feel. They need to take responsibility for their abhorrent violence. At last, thank you for your listening.
Thank you so much, Jim, for your sharing. Upcoming next, we will have another Tibetan who is called Tenzin Konga, who is the representative for Free Tibet and chairman of Tibetan community in Britain. 咁好多謝頭先 Jim 嘅分享啦。咁我哋嚟緊將會有Tenzin 啦，佢係Free Tibet 同埋 Tibetan community in Britain 嘅代表。咁有請佢分享。
Thank you, Catherine. Today I stand here as a representative of Free Tibet, an organization that supports human rights and aspirations of the Tibetan people for freedom. And I also stand here as a chairman of the Tibetan community in Britain here. And we also had a Tibetan representative earlier from the Global Alliance for Tibetans and Persecuted Minorities. Today, we saw in Beijing Xi Jinping elected as the CCP's General Secretary for an unprecedented third term. And he unveiled his top leadership today, all of whom are stacked with his allies and friends. Basically, there is no other voice to challenge his views and opinions. We have seen that the Chinese Communist Party has been becoming more and more strong militarily and economically. And with Xi Jinping now getting unrivaled power, the things which will be panning out in the coming days is really worrisome for all the democracy activists, human rights activists, Tibetans, Uyghurs, Hong Kongers, Southern Mongolians, because the Chinese Communist Party will be cracking down very severely and hardly on all those under their occupation. And very recently we saw in Manchester the Chinese Communist government's importation of their transnational repression, where we saw Bob Chen, a peaceful Hong Kong activist, being brutally assaulted by the officials of the Chinese consulate in Manchester. This is really worrisome and it's really worrying, and we ought to speak out against this. We cannot let this die down. And so today it's really very heartening to see a huge turnout here to basically send a strong message to the Chinese embassy here and to the Chinese Communist government in Beijing that these kind of intimidation tactics on the free soil in Britain will never be accepted. They will always, on behalf of Free Tibet and the Tibetan community, to stand along with our Hong Kong friends. Tibet has been under Chinese occupation for more than 70 years now. Earlier, our Tibetan speaker spoke about how the Chinese Communist Party, the People's Republic of China, occupied Tibet in the 1950s. Since then, Tibet has been under occupation. The Chinese Communist Party and the People's Republic of China has been successful in imprisoning the physical bodies of the Tibetan activists who are raising their voice against the Communist Party, but the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party has failed miserably in imprisoning the Tibetan spirit, imprisoning the Tibetan voice, imprisoning the free spirit of the Tibetans, who still, even after 7 decades of occupation, continue to yearn for liberty and freedom and continue to express their unwavering to His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama, who is our leader. Tibetans inside Tibet have been resisting the Chinese Communist Party in very innovative ways. I will give you one example. There is something called a Hakar movement, which translates into White Wednesday. Every Wednesday inside Tibet, Tibetans wear Tibetan dress. They speak and write in the Tibetan language. They eat Tibetan food and they support Tibetan businesses. This is basically a resistance against the Chinese Communist Party's sinicization policies, wherein they want to sinicize all walks of the Tibetan way of life. So the Tibetans inside Tibet are resisting by sending a strong message that no, we will not be bogged down with it. So today, whilst we see so many people here with us, there are many joining us in spirits. And the Chinese Communist Party is always skeptical and looks at those cultures and identities which do not conform to the CCP's values. Hence we see the crackdown on Tibetans inside Tibet, on the Uyghurs and other Turkic Muslims in East Turkestan, on our Southern Mongolian friends in Southern Mongolia, on the Taiwanese, on the Hong Kongers. So it's very important that we all stay together, united, because united we are strong and divided we fall. So we should all continue to build our alliance, because here in the UK, like in other places as well, I believe, all the different groups work together to challenge the Chinese Communist Party. So I think we should all continue to do that. We should all stay united, because together we will be able to defeat the evil that is the Chinese Communist Party. Free Tibet, free Hong Kong, free East Turkestan, stand with Taiwan, stand with Ukraine. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Fight for freedom. Stand with Hong Kong. Fight for freedom. Stand with Hong Kong. Fight for freedom. Stand with Hong Kong. Stop China. Stop violence. Stop should all unify our voices among all the oppressed groups. So now upcoming, we will have another Hong Konger who is going to share her feelings with us regarding the Manchester incident that happened last week. So she's a Hong Kong activist 做緊相關嘅人權工作嘅，咁我哋有請他們。光復香港！光復香港！
時代革命！
Hello everyone, I'm Carmen. We the Hong Kongers fled Hong Kong in order to get rid of Chinese threats of violence, manipulation and surveillance. Britain is expected to be a safer place which has freedoms that we cherish for, including freedom of demonstration. Hong Kongers' own scars from the 2019 democratic movement are still waiting to be healed. Many of us, even we are now in the UK, are still extremely concerned about our personal safety and afraid of being monitored by the CCP here. It could easily be understood when you see many of us still keep our masks on during rallies and protests in London. Therefore, it's totally unacceptable that Zheng Xiyuan has arrogantly admitted his attack towards the protester, and yet there aren't any consequences. What's more disappointing is that the government did very few in urgently responding to the accidents. Just as the local politicians suggest in the past week, what the government needs to do right now is far more than just using democratic language. Instead, involved consulate staff, including Consul General Zheng Xiyuan, shall be immediately dismissed and expelled from the country, which the government actually has diplomatic power to do so. The UK government should respond firmly now to reaffirm that any forms of violence interfering freedom of speech and freedom of demonstration are intolerable. And China shall not apply this barbaricant behavior here in the lands of the UK. Otherwise, all the welcoming Hong Kongers policies will never be enough when such nightmare follows. The CCP Party Congress was just closed. Xi Jinping has solidified his place as China's most powerful ruler since Mao Zedong. It's foreseeable that he will impose further suppression against all the dissidents, including Hong Kongers, Uyghurs, Tibetans and Taiwanese. And security threats will extend to any free country that supports democracy. We shall all stand solidarity along with every brave protesters inside the mainland China to fight against the tyranny. Here Hong Kong now, or be Hong Kong soon. 用廣東話我就唔再重複，我相信大家今日嚟嘅都知道上星期喺曼城發生嘅咩事。而過去呢一個禮拜，英國政府其實只係用一啲模棱兩可嘅外交回應，去放逐中共嘅極權，將佢嘅魔爪伸到嚟英國。香港人逃離香港、逃離中國，其實係為咗一種免於恐懼嘅自由。但係彷彿我哋今日喺英國，好似都仍然面對緊呢一種噩夢。當日我哋面對嘅係港共政權，今日係更加恐怖、更加狂妄嘅中共極權。敵人嘅力量更加大，手段更為揦雜，滲透、監控同埋恐嚇，其實令到我哋呢一班嚟香港人冇一日係活喺一個放心或者一個更加自由嘅心理，或者可以擁抱更加自由嘅思想。所以今日我仍然感激大家，仍然咁多人行出嚟，喺呢一個有法治嘅國家，我哋更加應該用一切嘅方法同埋手段，為咗上星期嘅事件爭取一個交代。中國嘅總領事鄭希元同埋相關嘅所有領事館涉案嘅人士，一定要承擔佢哋狂妄行為嘅後果。多謝大家，光復香港，
時代革命，
光復香港，
時代革命，
香港獨立，
唯一出路，
香港獨立，
唯一出路。
多謝。
Thank you, Carmen, for sharing a very inspiring speech to all of us. Right, upcoming next we'll have Ms. Benedict Rogers, who is the CEO of Hong Kong Watch, whom you should all be very familiar with, and I will not further introduce. I'll repeat in Cantonese. So 好多謝啱啱 Carmen 嘅分享啦。咁而家我哋就有請香港監察嘅總裁羅傑斯先生去為我哋作出關於上個禮拜曼城事件嘅分享。Ben, please.
光復香港，
時代革命，
光復香港，
時代革命，
光復香港，
時代革命。
Last Sunday, a week ago today, on the streets of Manchester and on the grounds of the Chinese Communist Party, I don't say China's, I say the Chinese Communist Party's consulate, we saw the true character and nature of the Chinese Communist Party on full display. We saw the so-called Consul General himself and several of his consular staff, so-called diplomats, firstly destroying the protesters' banners and signs and placards in a peaceful protest. Then we saw them beating up peaceful protesters on the street of Manchester. And then we saw them drag in Mr. Bob Chan, who I had the privilege of meeting a few days later, and severely beating him on the grounds of the Consulate General. This behavior is absolutely unacceptable and outrageous. It is criminal, and it shows, for anyone who did not already know the nature of the Chinese Communist Party, for anyone who had not been following what's been happening in Hong Kong in recent years, for anyone who has not been paying attention to the genocide of the Uyghurs, for anyone who was not aware of the atrocities in Tibet, for anyone who did not know already about the persecution of Christians, the persecution of Falun Gong, the persecution of lawyers, the persecution of bloggers and dissidents in China, for anyone who had not been paying attention to those crimes of the Chinese Communist Party over many years, last Sunday must have been a wake-up call, because we saw on full display before our very eyes the inhumanity, the brutality, the barbarity, the criminality of the Chinese Communist Party regime. And let's not think that what the Consul General and his thugs did last Sunday was some isolated incident, that it was some rare occasion. Okay, maybe we haven't seen diplomats behave that way before, but this was clearly typical of the mentality of the Chinese Communist Party regime. And of course it happened on the first day of the 20th Party Congress, and clearly they were trying to prove their loyalty to Xi Jinping. But we must not let that criminal incident last Sunday go unanswered. We cannot let those so-called diplomats hide behind diplomatic immunity, and we must not allow them to get away with what they've done with impunity. Over the last week, since last Sunday, we in Hong Kong Watch, together with our friends in IPAC and our friends in other organizations, have been doing everything we can to shine a light and to put pressure on the British government to respond to what happened last Sunday. There have been, as many of you will know, actually 4 occasions in Parliament, where the incident, there were 2 urgent questions, there was 1 point of order that Sir Ian Duncan-Smith raised, and there was a question in the House of Lords. And our patron Lord Alton spoke eloquently in that debate. 4 times it's been raised in Parliament. And every time parliamentarians, and we ourselves in Hong Kong Watch, have been urging the government to ensure that justice is done. What does that mean? Well, okay, there is a police inquiry going on, but it should not take too long for the police to establish the facts that we already know, that we've all seen in the footage and photographs on social media. So it should not take long for the police to conclude their investigation. And the government should not hide behind the police inquiry, because we also all know that even if the police wanted to prosecute, with the diplomatic immunity that the so-called diplomats have, Unless China lifts that diplomatic immunity, they cannot be prosecuted. And of course, China is not going to do that. So there is no reason for any further delay. It has been 1 week. We've been demanding throughout the week that the government act. And we repeat our demand that tomorrow, ideally today, but today's Sunday, but tomorrow morning, the government should immediately declare the Consul General and everybody from the consulate involved in that incident persona non grata, and they should be expelled immediately from this country. We do not want them here. We don't want criminals and thugs posing as diplomats in our country, and they must leave immediately. But let us also not think that that would be enough, because what happened in Manchester, as I said, shines a light on the nature of the Chinese Communist Party regime, and therefore expelling those diplomats involved in that incident is an important step, but it should be the beginning of a complete re-evaluation of this country's relationship with China, not with the people of China, but with the regime in Beijing. So we should, the government, whoever is the government next week, the new Prime Minister, should completely review our China policy, should diversify our supply chains, should impose sanctions. We have imposed a few token sanctions on officials responsible for the genocide against the Uyghurs, but it's nowhere near enough. We need more sanctions against those responsible for the genocide of the Uyghurs. We need sanctions against those responsible for destroying Hong Kong's freedoms. We need sanctions against those responsible for the surveillance state and the atrocities in Tibet. We need to hold every perpetrator of atrocity crimes responsible. And there's one last thing I want to say. I think this government and this country has done a reasonably good job at welcoming Hong Kongers to the UK. We worked hard in Hong Kong Watch for the BNO scheme to advocate for it. And I'm proud that the UK established the BNO scheme and provided a lifeline for so many Hong Kongers. And I think hopefully most of you feel welcome here. But you also need to feel safe here. You need to feel that the new freedom that you have in this country can be exercised peacefully and without danger to you. And so we all need to work, and we need to urge the government to do more, to hold those responsible, not just for the Manchester incident, but for intimidation and harassment wherever it happens, accountable, and to ensure that you all and every Hong Konger in this country feels safe. And we in Hong Kong Watch will not rest until the Consul General and his thugs are expelled, until everyone involved is held accountable, until Hong Kongers in this country can feel at every opportunity, not just the freedom, but the safety to do what we're doing now, to protest, to speak our mind, to exercise our right to freedom of protest, and to do so with security and peace. Thank you very much. Guang Fu Kong Gong.
時代革命！
加油！
好多謝 Ben 為我哋嘅分享啦。咁接下來咧，我哋就仲有兩位 speaker， 跟住我哋就好快就會起行啦。咁下一位就係Rahima 啦，咁佢係維吾爾嘅代表，咁佢就會同我哋分享維吾爾方面嘅聲音啊。So thank you so much, Ben, for sharing his thoughts with us. So upcoming next, we have two more speakers, and we'll start walking right away. So the next speaker is Rahima Mahmood, who is a human rights activist and also the UK director for the World Uyghur Congress. So Rahima, please.
Concentration camps and even organ harvesting. Through this horror, the solidarity we have from other communities that have spoken up aim at personal cost. I remember Hong Kongers protesting against the persecution of Uyghurs in 2019. Their bravery meant so much to our community while we were struggling for recognition. The support has been carried into exile by your generation of pro-democracy activists, by those of you that turns out to every protest, calling for a free Tibet and free East Turkestan alongside calls for a free Hong Kong. The destruction of Hong Kong's democracy has pained all of us in exile. We never wanted to see another generation forced to state brutality. Since the umbrella movement, the world has witnessed the trampling of human rights in Hong Kong, the implementation of the national security law, the destruction of the free press, and the total crushing of dissent. Just as Tibetans and Uyghurs have done, Hong Kongers have been forced to seek refuge in foreign nations, especially the UK. We make sacrifices and speak out in this country because we have to exercise the rights that have stolen from our people back home. But now the Chinese government are trying to violently silence us, even on British soil. The scenes in Manchester last weekend were
for sharing such valuable insights. So right now we have a surprise speaker who was originally not on our list, Drew Pavlou, an activist from Australia, and he actually protested outside the Chinese embassy before, and he was dragged by the Met Police in London. Let's hear what he has to say, and I'll repeat once again in Cantonese. 好多謝 Rahima 啱啱同我哋 share 關於維吾爾族嘅聲音啦。咁而家我哋有一個臨時嘅講者，咁佢就啱啱嚟到咗。咁我哋認為佢都好同今日嘅事件，同上個禮拜事件相關啦。佢就係一個澳洲嘅人權倡議者，咁佢個名叫 Drew Pavlou 啦。咁大家如果有睇新聞嘅話，咁之前佢都喺中國大使館，因為一單疑似炸彈嘅案件咧，咁就俾警察扣留咗好耐，甚至俾警察拖佢走，同埋韞住咗喺韞住咗好耐嘅。咁所以我哋而家有請 Drew Pavlou 為我哋講嘢。Drew, please.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to start with Free Hong Kong!
Free Hong Kong!
Free Hong Kong! Free Hong Kong! Free Hong Kong! Free Tibet!
Free Tibet!
Free Uyghurs!
Free Uyghurs!
Down with Xi! Down with Xi! I think I was going to speak today. I'm here to speak about the terrible, terrible attack on the Manchester Chinese consulate. They drag innocent Hong Kongers onto the grounds of the consulate, bash them up. This is illegal behaviour. It is wrong. It is inhumane. We see that the Chinese in Britain as Tibetans, they have to do more to protect activists from this dictatorship that is increasingly threatening innocent people who are simply just trying to exercise their free speech, their democratic rights as any other British citizen should enjoy. I have to tell you a short story about what happened to me back in July, because the Chinese government's attacks on protesters here in Britain have been going on for months now. They're getting out of control. Back in July, I held a small protest outside the Chinese embassy. To get back at me, the Chinese embassy reported me to the Metropolitan Police as a terrorist. They created a fake bomb threat in my name. I was detained by the Metropolitan Police for 24 hours. I wasn't allowed to talk to a lawyer. I wasn't allowed to talk to the Australian High Commission. They stranded me here in London for 4 weeks. They told me that if I wasn't back here in London on October 18, that I would face an arrest warrant in my name. They're going after innocents now, and it's so sad because the Metropolitan Police seems to be doing the bidding of the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party is using the openness of the British system, the openness of our democracies, and it's not just in Britain, it's happening in Australia as well, it's happening all across the world. It's happening in Australia, my home country. They're using the openness of our systems against us. They're using our liberal democracies against us. They're now turning our rights against us. And that's what I'm calling for people to stand against. And we're calling for government to stand against the Chinese Communist Party because we know the Hong Kongers knew this is a transnational criminal organisation. The Hong Kongers knew this. The Hong Kongers back in 2019, these young people protesting in the streets, they were right. They were
They were more truthful to reality than all the think tank experts and the academics who said, keep trading with China, keep trading with China. What did we see yesterday? Xi Jinping has taken full control. Now he's the emperor for life. And the Hong Kongers back in 2019, they knew this. They knew what was happening. They knew the dark future that was down the road in front of us. And we should have learned, the world should have watched the Hong Kongers and learned. But unfortunately, the world was blind. And now this dictatorship has gone from strength to strength. Everyone here is a testament to that. People have lost their homes, lost their families. The Uyghurs are facing a genocide, more than 1 million in concentration camps. The Tibetans have faced cultural genocide for decades now. Hundreds have burned themselves alive in the streets of Tibet. If China is such an open society, why are Tibetans burning themselves alive in the street? We know this is one of the most brutal regimes on earth. The world should have watched you and listened to the Hong Kongers and the Tibetans and the Uyghurs. Then we would have known what was happening. But instead, we were too sleepy, we were greedy. The Western elites, unfortunately, they made too much money out of China, too much money in trade. And unfortunately, we're now in this terrible situation where they're going after people in the streets of Manchester. They're going after Hong Kongers here in a democratic society. They put a bomb threat against my name. They started doing bomb threats against my brother and sister, my younger siblings. They're going after family members just like they do to the Uyghurs and the Tibetans and the Hong Kongers. This is what we're facing now. I wish the world had watched and listened to the Hong Kong.
Thank you so much, Drew. Thank you. Before we start, we have one more surprise speaker from next door's protest, who's a Ukrainian. We have one more surprise speaker from next door's protest, who's a Ukrainian. I want to share some words to show that they support our democracy and they support democracy in general. And his name is Dimitro. Dimitro, please.
Hello, my name is Dimitro, and I'm Ukrainian activist since 2014. We all know the situation in Hong Kong. We all support you guys. And I wish we stay together to the end. They're all empire in the past. They all collapsed. Ottoman Empire collapsed. Russian Empire collapsed. Soviet Union collapsed. Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsed. In the China one day will collapse. They will never be there forever. That's why we are for democracy and the power in us, not in them. Ukraine stay with you. Together we are power.
好多謝頭先就隔離有烏克蘭嘅人嚟同我哋分享佢支持我哋香港嘅民主運動啦。咁我哋而家咧就正式起行啦。Thank you so much, Dimitro, for coming to share your words to us, Slava Ukraini. And we are now going to move and start walking. 咁我而家用中文講一次我哋遊行嘅注意事項先。咁我哋咧就會由藍白旗同埋呢塊牌做隊頭。咁呢支好高嘅魚缸好啦，而家準備起行啦。咁然後我哋就一路行，咁我哋遊行嘅路線咧會經過 Chinatown 嘅，咁就想提醒大家喺經過呢個 Chinatown 嘅時候咧，咁隊頭就行慢啲，隊尾就行快啲，盡量聽實啲。咁我哋就避免有不必要嘅衝突發生。咁我哋而家就開始準備行啦，大家可以準備起行。So we'll now start walking, and please be aware that this banner and this flag.
7日㗎，所以7日我都喺 Facebook 講唔到嘢嘅。
遊行會正式開始。我哋會過對面馬路，然之後一直去前，唔該曬大家。
數太多啦，咁所以我哋今日係會行馬路嘅，咁希望大家能夠小心啲，同埋大家唔好斬開幾節，因為如果斬開幾節嘅話咧，就會好壓條路㗎啦。
面具好正啊！個面具好正啊！
Freedom for Hong Kong! 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 Freedom for Hong
唯一出路。Baby win！
時代革命！時代革命！時代革命！時代革命！
光復香港，天滅中共。同埋最主要你今次過分啊嘛，北仆街。嗰日你又話咩嚟嘅？我知係啊嘛，呢次我就 CCP。我見過你啊嘛，梗係。哦，多謝多謝。我就 CCP。我就 CCP。講㗎啦。我唔係。一吹雞要出嚟㗎啦。係啊，總之有示威，總之譬如我唔使開工嘅，我就一定去嘅。係啊，我都係。係啊，即係香港人。其實我影呢啲其實最主要係俾香港嘅朋友睇，因為香港冇㗎啦嘛。哦，係啊，係啊。係啊，咁唯有俾你睇落去都未必會。如果唔係嘅，唔係係 喺屋企靜英英咯，匿埋間房睇。
Say no to China！
都係要做呢啲，真係要話俾香港人聽，我哋喺呢度都係做緊嘢。大家都有啲可做喺度。係啊，即係香港有好多仆街，成日話我哋走咗嗰啲唔好搞咁多嘢，收皮啊！你喺香港係做到啲咩啊？哦，sorry。Fuck the CCP! Fuck the CCP! Thank you, sir. 頭先警察叔叔係叫我行翻上行路嘅，係啦，上翻行路。呢一句又舒服好多。係啦，嗱人哋嗌我哋幾聽話。你香港嗰啲叫食屎啊！香港啲食屎啊真係。好多人。係今日都幾多。多過11。11都少。係11都少，呢樣咁多係。唔係因為。都係嗰句，咁佢哋做得仆街，我哋都要出嚟啦。夠姜佢一陣出嚟添嘛。我怕係啊，咁佢啲音樂點唱唔到咁犀利。緊要啊！大家正常個氣氛。係不過佢哋都要支持嘅，真係要好快贏㗎啦！佢哋。埋你影你啊！好攰啊！下一句佢哋幾句咯？嗱，呢位手足，你講咩唔啱啊？呢位手足，呢位手足，你可以影你啊！呢位手足，我影你啊！同你講啊，呢位手足，你幫我跪啊嗱！今日多人做實㗎，你又即係我知道。 睇嚟就準備落雨啦。係啦，落啦，已經落雨啦。係啦，好，好似香港咁嘛，開遮。
佢唔攞翻我放喺地㗎啦。
哇！好大粒啊啲嘢！哇！好大雨啊！光復香港！光復香港！香港獨立！唯一出路！香港獨立！唯一出路 ！Fight for freedom! Fight for freedom! 好大雨啊！
喂，過馬路！
好大雨啊！倒水咁啊！啊 ，iPhone 8啊嘛。唯一出路。 好大雨啊！哇！由頭濕到落腳啊！唔好走散啦，咁多位。得我幫你睇住尾呢段啦。好身都濕晒啦！我全身濕晒。濕晒啊！我知道我要做。 我哋而家咧就喺倫敦嘅唐人街啊！
革命！
Hong Kong is not China! Hong Kong is not. Hong Kong is not. Hong Kong is. 唔係最慘係咩？濕啊嘛，濕咗啦，一發快啲水落發聲。唯一出路。
Say no to China! Say no to China! Say no to China!
Protect Britain, West China Council. Protect Britain. Protect Britain. Protect Britain. Protect Britain. Shame on China. Shame on China Council. Shame on. Shame on China. Shame on. Shame on. Shame on. Shame on. Shame on. What do we hate? What do we hate? What do we hate? What do we hate? Protect Britain, West China Council. Protect Britain. Protect Britain. Say no to China. Say no to violence. Say no to China. Say no to China. Say no to China.
Say no to China!
Say no to China.
Say no to China! Stand with Hong Kong! Stand with Hong Kong!
Fight for freedom. Fight for freedom.
Stand with Hong Kong!
Fight for freedom.
Stand with Hong Kong!
Fight for freedom.
Stand with Hong Kong!
Say no to China. Say no to violence. Say no to China. Say no to China. Say no to China. Britain, West China Council. Protect Britain.
試下叫佢哋出嚟
Protect Britain. Protect Britain.
打個身咯。
Save your life. Stay away from China. Save your life.
你估佢呢個係一個腳板食咗一個人？
Save your life. Save your life. What do we hate? What do we hate?
答下大家嘅嘢先。咩啊？重現雨中殺係2019係8月18啦。曼城今日一樣有集會，其實今日好多地方都有集會㗎。曼城係之後倫敦個人得有打咩場？嗱，大家 share 條 link 咗去俾大家睇下，希望夠電行到去大使館啦。我而家掹唔到個後備電出嚟啊！係啊，8一8大家巢皮咁翻屋企，游鹽水浸香港腳啊嘛！等下先，啲儀器，部電話唔怕，部電話 iPhone 8防。睇住咁多先，影翻俾大家睇先。 我點樣我而家有邊一筆濕嘅？大家睇唔睇到隊尾啊？大家？係咪咧？應該係，可能大雨有啲跌啊，因為呢啲真係係啊。係真係要跌啊！所以我啲人係咁啊，前手都唔當出嚟，阻住晒。左手左腳嘅，咪係咯，因為第一次嚟到咪係咯，係捧住佢，真係要整走喎，當咪隻個仔咁多啊，大風嗰次，第一次，發生呢個。我屌濕啊！
Fight for freedom!
嚟㗎喎。齋風法防水啫，唔係防抌啊嘛。冇啊！挖佢出嚟，國家糧食幾多錢啊？咁鬼大嘢啊兩個！係咯，咁做係咩咧？佢最大風啊！佢最大嘅時間好大風，根本張唔好，好似警手號咁啊！哇！幾下大，啲水講嚟，你咪喺度射啦！水炮車，我老婆唔俾我水炮車啊！係啊！冇你着乜都死啊！黐線啊！而家全身都濕晒啊！而家咪游水浸香港腳咯，隻腳。腳過癮啲。係啊，好似行緊喺海邊啊！好浪漫啊！幾浪漫啊！而家。有冇人睇呢個直播？有啊，40幾人啊，好叻㗎啦！係啊，40幾人啊！哇，好凍啊！好大風啊，開始上。阿 Sam 喺咪度啊？阿 Sam 哥喺咪度啊 ？Sam 哥喺咪度啊 ？Sam 哥 ，Uncle Leo 揾你啊喂！先，哇，好黑啊！好黑啊！哎，背光啊！咦，你呢件嘢咩嘅喎？係啊，我着乜都冇，今日着乜都冇。係啊，佢真係倒水倒落嚟。哇！而家個人一靜咧就開始凍啦個人。你依家未靜，仲喺度喐緊。你一起定咩出嚟？唔係，一陣可唔可以叫佢哋出嚟睇下，喐下都好啊嘛。啱啊！你快啲叫佢。出嚟！咩？隻抽。出嚟啊！點樣好冇？圍抽。狗嘅你出嚟。點敢出嚟啊！我而家話幾千人，有頭先最多人嘅時候好多啊！而家落雨走咁啲應該，啲小朋友係啊，有啲一家大細嗰啲。好，睇下咩人講嘢先。哇！個人開始凍啦，開始震啦，個人凍到震啊！ 差唔差到電先？嗱，大家可能個直播會間停啊，因為冇電啊。但係佢而家又唔俾我叉電啊，我要一陣去到先睇下有咩環境啊。
喂，睇唔到。
係啊。
喂，喂，
窿唔係咁容易入㗎。冇一忽係乾嘅，最大鑊係冇一忽係乾，成身都濕灼灼，唉！哦，差唔多到啦，轉左。首先 H&M 應該係轉左就直去啊嘛，我認得個就轉右係嘛？係我唔記得咗，又係嚟到呢度，我認得 H&M 咯。啊！
要問下人有冇紙巾啊？
係啦。有冇啲身上面有冇啲乾啲
幾濕嘅紙巾咧？有冇？
係啊，因為全身都濕晒，佢又揸唔到電。
我拎住先。
thank you，唔該晒。
for freedom. Fight for freedom. Fight for freedom.
唔好客氣，唔好客氣，香港已經冇得示威遊行㗎啦，影俾大家睇。哇！嗰陣風吹埋嚟，好屌啊！
快啲行翻去人群入邊，遠少少。
咦？哇！
我哋甩咗，我哋甩咗。Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. 哇！黐撚線嘅，抌得水出嚟嘅。
再翻去先，睇下我呢個得唔得？依家試下我呢個，我呢個用開點濕。
sorry。
收埋我呢度先。
係咯，唯有係咁啦。唔係我話可能頭先太大意。
唔係頭先隊尾有，我有叫部分人係直接坐地鐵去到 Regent Park 去中領館。其實係頭先嗰一陣雨，而家冇啦。
好似警嫂號咁啊！頭先嗰陣雨。係啊。哇！黐線嘅。
快啲啦！
係咪過嚟？撥都冇用啦，撥都冇用啦，咁趕揸直升機一笨。好啦，我哋仲有大概10分鐘到啊，行到去支那領事館啦。香港都係點幾啫？開始少人睇啦，應該。Thank you. Thank you very much.
係啊，加年幾喎？係啊，等我睇。
咁我都睇到好嘢喎。係咯，咁先好嘢喎。留翻啲器具先啦。哦，翻入嚟啊！翻入嚟。買杯嘢飲下先。係有沙北啊！有沙北啊！有沙北啊！ 唔緊要，用消費券買。係啊，揾人幫我買，跟住帶翻嚟咯。好。梗係啦，釣都指我哋嘅喎。係啊，2蚊啫我哋。咁你冇攞係應份㗎啦。我嫌你做部電腦過嚟添。
Moving to the side, it is slowing down. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, sir.
London drivers are terrible. Actually, that's a fact. There is
We love UK police.
someone does.
But we hate Hong Kong police. Yeah. 吹乾個後備卡，係唔好打柴啊！打柴好大鑊，大佬呢度買個後備卡好貴。講個2萬咗，係啊！我就係特登喺香港嗰陣時走，一定買定呢啲先㗎。好啦，
你呢度買都貴啦，你揾唔到啲冇咁大嘅，好多都係大啲房啊，好坦白講，
遲下就冇乜㗎啦。
咁啊係，
做開咗仆街。
你可能你放鬆啲啊。
有一排歡迎都有印度㗎。有你嘅自己內循環呢啲食緊嗰啲咧。
係啊，今日佢又話換緊咗嗰啲點嚟嗰啲中性的狗啊嘛，係雜牌嗰啲啊。
全喺度雜牌嘅，真係等死嘅真係佢哋。
識做咯。
啱咯，
啱啊，係啊，董家足先。
咁咪係咯。你佢冧撚咗，我哋可以翻講啊，大佬。嗰邊咯，對面啊嘛。誒，再前啲。望咗，再前啲。哇！這人我操！佢着件衫。係咩？係啊，頭先有位。係咩？佢都咁樣喎。係啊，即係反共㗎咯。上次11都好似見到喺度。嗰個姐係啊，着住嗰件衫我認得。
有啲人寫嗰啲標語。
但係佢裏邊都有人真係唔妥佢嘅，有啦，冇得出聲啫。
但係嗰啲面嘅人就應該可以做啊嘛。
咪咯。到啦，可以講啦，出嚟啊！屌你老母
！It's my duty。
It's my duty， 出嚟啊！屌你老母！得唔得？棘住咗樹葉啊，係嘛？有跟住歌，有跟住歌。Hurry up!
代革命，時代革命。
好啦，我哋就嚟到支那大使館啦，前邊過多個路口係啦。咦，今日都係冇扯支旗出嚟嘅，做乜撚嘢啊？唔識扯旗啊？
夠熟嗰啲咪？
習近平你唔識扯旗啊？冇咗支旗啊又。呢句一定要直播。
必須要。
嗱，又冇撚咗支旗啊，又冇撚扯旗佢哋，扯唔撚起啊佢哋。唔緊要，我明白嘅，呢個心情。喂，支旗咧，屌你老母唔識扯旗啊！冇撚咗一支旗。屌你老母，習近平你唔識扯旗啊！
旗都冇埋啦。
真係喎，嗱你都冇旗嘅，做乜撚嘢好撚驚啊？呢棟咯。抄你媽史天平！乜唔係咁嘅咩？屌你老母共產黨！全黨死整個！全黨死整個！全黨死整個！全黨死整個！OK，上翻去好啊！上翻去。唔係，呢度嘅警察真係叫我哋上翻去。出嚟啊！屌你老母！出嚟啊！屌你老母！屌你老母共產黨！出嚟啊！Death to the communists! Death to the communists! Death to the dictator! Death to the dictator! Death to the communists! Death to the communists! Death to the dictator! Death to the dictator! Death to the communists! Death to the communists! Death to the dictator! Death to the dictator! 呢度佢先，係啊，呢度難啲喎，我想，等得差佬都唔會俾你，差佬都唔會嘛。你想我佢哋，所以呢個你試下佢話地，個個湧埋喎。
一人一刀嘅。
唔係啊，浸都浸得死佢啊！
大家係要過晒嚟，我哋先可以開始嘅。
佢上次12月1都封路㗎，今日多人過12月1喎，大佬。 佢俾行咯，照俾行噶。佢叫你唔好企咗馬路啫嘛，應該。係啊。係咯，可以過嘅。No.
Back on the path. There is not enough room over there. Come on. Then we can go there to there. If you're down there, we'll cross there if you're still doing it. Come on.
喂，呢邊啲手續啊！喂，嗰邊咧，要過翻嗰邊先得喎，你嗰邊唔俾接近啊，你唔係可唔可以企喺嗰個中道嗰邊阿 Sir 我 OK 喎，即係大家多啲喺嗰位啊。
呢個話唔 OK 喎，呢個話唔 OK 喎。
呢個你直接行過去咪得咯，我都行到過嚟啦。點解阻到你哋咩？
過馬路過對面㗎啦。
Stay there. 因為頭先喺嗰邊警察阻住咗，都行唔到過嚟，咁而家可以行過嚟啦。其實仲有好多人㗎。埋避雨啫，避雨啫。唔係 M 1啦 ，M 1真係唔知喎。佢即期扯唔起可能。唔好咁大聲，唔好咁大聲，佢就唔係佢知期就扯唔起啊。咁冇期嘅，唔敢掛出嚟啊！安放一個。咁啊，而家仲做緊啊！你香港啲朋友睇啊嘛！
Foundation from Hong
OK 嘅。
One nation。
有好嘢啊！佢而家成日都係爭緊一2蚊。
唔會有呢個唱歌嘅環節，我哋唔會有。
時間你冇拆嘅。頭先一行之後喺嗰邊行出走，一行出去嗰條龍係未斷嘅。
喂，
原先係預計係無貨嘅，咁所以對於你嘅冒犯，我哋係唔好意思嘅，係啦，係唔該曬，唔該曬，希望你唔好推撞同埋搶咪，我唔希望有搶咪嘅情況，因為大家同一嘅。好，我哋可以繼續㗎。好，大家留翻少少位俾我哋。好啦，我哋唔知係咪有咩人去咩事啦？咁我哋開始啦，係啦。
外交部未召見佢嗰個有大使啊，唔係因為阿 Liz Truss 好麻煩啊嘛，而家佢唔知召見咗，人哋都唔聽你講。
希望 Boris Johnson 翻嚟啦，係要啲癲佬先對付到佢哋㗎。嗱，一個 Trump 一個 Boris Johnson
頭髮要亂晒先得㗎。
係呢啲先對付到佢哋嘅。
頭咁靚唔得㗎喎。
係啊。
咁我整體嘅保護大家，相信係非常之安全。咁我哋大會係會有地方咁樣俾大家俾翻個台俾大家嘅環節嘅。咁大家預備一啲真係想講嘅，大家記住一等翻嚟咧，直接過嚟揾得到。
好似上次咁擺上面啫。我縮翻短啲先。係啊，咪一路行過嚟一路舉住咯。
咁啊，大家都會聽嘅，明顯過到嚟一步。咁嚟到呢個咧，後來雖然有少少嘅爭執，咁大家會見得到咧，我哋喺呢個城入邊咧，不停咁去考慮，我哋都係咁去同其他嘅人去，俾多啲人知道我哋能夠做啲乜嘢嘢。我哋都會頭先喺度發生嘅小衝突都好，佢哋其實本身都會成個香港人嘅層面入邊，其實都不時會有呢情況。大家如果有去到都市嘅遊行嘅 PG 風入邊、都市嗰入邊咧，大家都有唔同嘅討論，甚至有時會嗌交。但我相信有好多我哋喺2019年香港嘅嘢，其實我哋冇忘記到。我哋嚟到今時今日，嚟到而家喺經過呢一步。好多嘢其實香港嗰邊啲人真係做唔到，我哋一定係去做。所以我哋都係唔知有啲咩作用，我都答唔到大家，但我相信一定有影響。而我哋亦都喺前面嚟到呢一步，我希望大家嚟緊都係一樣，無論係遊行、集會，甚至一啲地區組織搞嘅活動，網上文宣聯署，總之你哋諗得到嘅就做，我哋唔會放棄㗎。香港嗰啲人仲會等緊我哋。我自己留意到一樣嘢，就
仲做到啲乜嘢，一定要去做。你問我有啲咩方法可以令到呢個國家共產黨諗，我諗唔到，答唔到而家。你問我會將會資格好快，我自己又好悲觀嘅，好覺得快，但可以堅持住，因為香港嘅人受緊，香港嘅人仲堅持緊。好多活動喺嗰啲點解仲有出嚟？我哋自己點解唔做嘢？我諗嚟喺度咧，但係睇下有人仲想再有啲嘢講，想發言嘅，希望打開出嚟，攞個智慧，我都鼓勵大家又好，鼓勵香港人又好，大家有啲同呢個國家共產黨講都好。
習近平，屌你老母！
Mongolia is never Chinese. Because Southern Mongolia is occupied by China. Exactly. Like Hong Kong, like Japan, like East Kyrgyzstan. 所以我就咁講，我哋就係香港人，我哋今日嘅呢個occasion 就係有西藏人，有Inner Mongolian，有其他唔同嘅族裔，大家都就中國壓迫出嚟，我哋捍衛我哋嘅自由，都係捍衛緊大家嘅自由，因為我哋有共同嘅敵人。我希望大家可以記住呢一點，多謝。
果係咁嘅話，就老到啲都多謝大家，老到啲都咁對，多謝大家嚟到呢度。